Hey everybody, this is Captain Muñiz with Nomad Fishing, and today I'm bringing you part 2 of the tutorial on the maintenance for the 200 Suzukis. Remember, I have the 2024s, so if you have a 4-stroke, this video, this tutorial may apply to you. Like I said in the first part, I am not a mechanic, a boat mechanic, or a Suzuki tech by any means, but I have worked on my own engines for years, and I feel pretty confident doing most of the maintenance work on them myself. Guys, please don't forget to hit that like button and leave your questions and comments. Well, without further ado, here's part 2. Alright, so here we have the spark plugs for the Suzuki 200s. These are an NGK spark plug. They come shipped exactly the way you see them here. They have this little cardboard protector. And if you go inside the manual, it'll give you the range for the gap on the spark plugs. This little tool here is a gap checker for the spark plugs. I'm going to use this just to confirm that the spark plugs are correctly gapped. I believe it should be between 0.31 and 0.35 thousandths of an inch. So you're going to take the cover off on each one and just check them one by one. You're going to go in there and just run this through. You just start off on the smaller side and just kind of run it through. And then once it stops and it comes to a stop, you're going to check the size there. This one's about 0.31, 0.32, so it's within the range. You don't have to really do anything there. Once you check this one, if you need to adjust it, you could adjust it. So once you check it, you can put it back down. I like to put the cover back on just to make sure that it doesn't hit anything that can change that gap style. So we're just going to do this one by one. We're going to take them all, check them, and go from there. Alright, so now we're back here at the engine. You have the 4 coils. Each one of these coils is held in by a small bolt. So before you replace the plugs, you got to remove the coils. What I recommend using is a small 1/4-inch ratchet. You never want to use a very large tool on any of these. Even though they typically come out pretty easy, you never want to force anything. So I like to use the smallest tool possible just to avoid damaging threads or breaking bolts, things like that, because that can really set your back if it happens. So we're going to go ahead and just remove that bolt carefully. Once the bolt is out, we're going to pull the coil out, and that will expose the spark plug, which is actually inside a sleeve there. So you can't really see it too good from the outside. You will need an extension on your socket so you can get in there. So there you see it. I don't know if you can see it right inside that hole. I'm pointing to it there. You're going to take your other socket with the longer extension. You're going to go in and carefully remove it. The last time I installed these spark plugs, I did use anti-seize, so they should come out relatively easy. Here we go. We got this one coming. There's a bunch of threads on it, so it takes a few turns of the wrench to get them out. But what I like to do is once I break it free, just use my hand. You want to be as gentle as possible. Remember that a lot of these engines have aluminum heads, so you don't want to damage anything. You want to be real careful and just take your time on this. There it is. The spark plug looks pretty good. I'm going to inspect it, just make sure that it's clean, that there's nothing unusual going on, and now we're ready to install the new one. Alright, so here's the spark plug. As you can see, I already applied some anti-seize to the threads. You have to be really careful not to get any of the anti-seize inside where you have the anode on the working side of the spark plug. So just be real careful. Get them on the threads, but only on the threads. So now that you have it on the threads, you're ready to go ahead and install it. So now for installation, we're basically just going to repeat the process backwards. We're going to take the spark plug, we're going to put it in very softly. You don't want to bump it into anything or hit anything on the way in. You want to go in nice and easy. It should fall into place. What I like to do is I like to get it started by hand. Just turn it until I make sure that the threads catch and that it's going in nice and easy. Once it's in nice and easy and it's tightened, hand tightened, I can go in with the wrench and finish tightening it. You don't have to really torque it down too much. Just get it nice and snug and you should be good. Once you go ahead and tighten it, you can go ahead and install the coil back. Just push it in, make sure it goes in all the way, and then you're going to align that hole at the top of the coil with the one on the block, so you can go ahead and reinstall that bolt. Remember to use that smaller ratchet if possible. So again, you're going to start it off by hand. You want to make sure you're not cross-threading anything. Once you got it in there, you can go in and finish it off with the wrench. Again, just make it snug. You don't have to really, hammer it down. Just get it nice and tight. There you go. There's a nice tight. So that's ready to go. Now I'm ready to move on to the next spark plug. This engine is a 4-cylinder, so we got 3 more. We're just going to repeat this process before we can move on. All right, so now I'm on the last one. I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up. Again, I'm going to tighten it. Just get it on there nice and snug. Then I'm going to go back and install the last coil. Once I get that coil, I'm going to wipe everything down and just make sure everything looks good, and we can move on from there. Alright, here you have the new thermostat. We're going to remove the old thermostat. As you can see, this thermostat has a spring on it. It's a metal piece. You get a lot of salt water running through this, so a lot of times you get salt deposits and they will get pretty nasty. So it's always a good idea to inspect them. They recommend about every 100 hours. This one I honestly hadn't checked in more than 100 hours and it was pretty nasty, so I decided to change them out both. They had a little bit of corrosion on them, and the seal didn't look that great, so I think it was probably due for replacement. In order to remove the thermostat or replace it, we have to remove this gooseneck back here. There's these 2 bolts that hold it in place, so we have to remove those bolts and be careful not to lose the washers that go behind them. So we're just going to remove that very carefully. So we're going to start by removing the 2 bolts. I believe it's a 10 millimeter we're using on them. Just going to remove them carefully. There's a special washer that goes on these. It's pretty shape. You can see it here. We got one of these on the front side, and they also have one on the back side. So we're going to remove them both. The one on the back side you cannot see. Once you start working that gooseneck free, they may fall out, so you just got to be real careful. What I like to do is once it gets free, I like to reach in there and just make sure that they stay in place, or if possible, maybe just take them out and set them aside until I'm ready to reinstall it. Once you get the bolts out, you're going to have to start, you're going to unplug this piece here, and then you're going to start having to just wiggle it loose. At the top, it fits into a rubber piece, so you just have to jiggle it back and forth until you can work it loose. It takes a little bit, especially the first time, because they're nice and tight there from the factory. So in this case, I have to get up a little higher just to get a little more leverage so you can see what I was doing. But eventually it will pop out. You just got to keep working it back and forth. It's hooked up to the intake there. So after some jiggling back and forth, there it goes. It's out. And now the thermostat is exposed. Now as you can see here, here's your intake. This intake, that screen also pops off. I recommend leaving it on just to avoid anything falling in there. You could also put a little piece of a little rag or something over it because you really don't want anything going in there. So to get to the thermostat, we're going to have to take that housing there. It's got 3 bolts on it. We got to remove the 3 bolts. The 2 on the top are relatively easy. We can get those with our ratchet. The one on the bottom is going to require a small wrench. It's going to be a little more difficult. So once we get that housing off, you can see the thermostat. As you can see, the rubber piece on here was a little warped. It's got a little bit of corrosion in there. So we're going to pull this out carefully, not to damage anything. We've got to be real careful. We're going to pull it out. We're going to inspect it, and we're also going to clean real good inside of that housing before reinstalling the new thermostat. Okay, so here you have the old thermostat. You can see it's got some salt buildup on it, so we're going to get rid of that. We're also going to go in here to this fitting. There's some salt buildup in there too, so we're going to clean that out real good, and then reinstall. This is the other thermostat. Didn't look as bad, but it's still pretty nasty, so we're going to replace it. You can see it got a little damage while we're removing it. Here's the new one. We're going to apply a little bit of grease right there where it sits just to help it kind of find its spot, and then go ahead and reinstall the housing. As you can see, we have everything reinstalled. Everything is back in place. We made sure everything went on the same way it came off. And now we're just going to go ahead and button this up and start the engine. Just make sure everything's running good and that we have no issues. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed part 2, and I hope this helps you if you ever need to do some maintenance on your Suzuki or really on any other. A lot of this information will apply to other brands as well. But hopefully you found this video to be interesting. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and leave me any questions or comments. This will help the channel and help me bring you more material like this in the future. Guys, thanks again. This is Captain Muñiz with Nomad Fishing.